Hey guys, can we have a check there on the? Can we have a microphone check? Someone? You won't hear me? Hello? It's working. Dudley says it's working. That's awesome. I just was a bit late because I had to deal with the whole CPU clacky fanny thing that seems to work. Seems to be intermittent with the speakers because the speakers don't work. I think it's a speaker problem, but I don't know. It sounds like a CPU fan, but there's no fan in where it's making the noise. So I haven't fixed that. At some point, there's probably a new computer in my life, but it's not yet. Things need to be a bit more settled before that actually happens. We've got 5 people watching. That's pretty awesome. Hey, Mark, 624 Dudley, good morning. You're a bit early. Peter, g'day. There's a couple of others too, apparently. But anyway, we're doing it this way. I haven't really got a second screen set up or anything like that. And I have got a mouse. I did bring a mouse. I've got one. It's awesome. But it's got a flat battery. So mouse is no good. Mouse don't work. There are some good second-hand computers I could buy. That's very true. I'm sort of feeling like I might just do it. And for the use I get out of it, it might be smart just to why hasn't that refreshed? Oh. We're not getting a refresh there. Why is it so? For some reason, we're not getting a refresh here. Start with that. Not sure what the story is there. but it doesn't seem to be refreshing nicely. It's a bit strange. There we go. Something's. We'll get the hang of this in a minute. I'm a bit slow, a bit crap at this. Ah, interesting. Why's that done that? Good question. Everyone's got sick of this. We're back down to 3. Doesn't work. Give me a second, guys. I'm not sure what's happening here. It's a bit strange. Not sure. I won't do that. I'm really. Not sure about this. Bear with me for a minute. It's better. Are we back? Don't know. Oh, we're back. Right. Let's got that sorted. Am I here? Um, I'm really not very good at this. And not only on one computer, I'm struggling a bit with that on just one little screen. So I don't know what happened. It says that while I'm like backstage, apparently, when I close this little talking head thing, it mutes my sound. And I'm sorry about that. Now, looking at it, we need a an aluminium plate or brass plate or something on this box. I had some thoughts about it, and this was quite some time before we designed a logo for the Shenandoah Steam Shed. I've sort of got this, which I don't really particularly like. Um, this is sort of the look that we're going for. What I'm going to do, I really appreciate you tuning in, everyone, because this is sort of where I'm at, is that I'm struggling to get back into projects like this. I really am. Now, if we got that awful background noise back, haven't we? Apologies. Because it disappeared there for a bit, and I'm not sure how to fix that. I think if I do this, that's probably fixed it, has it? I hope so. I'm not making progress here at a rapid rate, actually, is what's happening. Hopefully, I fixed it. I think we're all back where we started. And we got rid of the clicky sound, which I believe to be, hopefully the noise has disappeared. Really appreciate you guys taking time to watch, because these are things that I don't get to. Now, we need a plate about this size, cast in aluminium, probably be nice enough, or brass maybe if we really were feeling fancy. And it needs to read standard Shenandoah Steam Shed. Now, I had sort of thought to have sort of a sweepy, sort of a word art sort of style thing happening here, but in onshape, I'm not sure how to do that. What we're probably going to do is put another sketch here. Sure, I like that on a plate that's sort of 6 inches by 5 inches or something like that. It's a very difficult typeface to actually mold and cast, I think. Um, I don't think that's a particularly easy thing to cast at all, and I don't think that's going to work. So I guess the thing to do with minimum fast is to if we right click on that, we can click edit text, and it gives us a little pop up. I think you can see that. Yeah. SSS, yes, that's something we overlooked, but anyway. And this is in Roboto Slab, which is a bit awful. You know, most of these are technical fonts, so they're all a bit sort of boring. See, that's not really doing it for us. Is that better? It's probably much easier to actually cast, but it's a little bit boring. Just edit that sketch. We can. I'm right out of the zone on this. It's been a little while. What I'm doing is just editing the sketch, and it gives us an option to edit text, so we can change to what we'd really like. Oswald, that one's called. Maybe that's getting closer. Is that getting closer? Something like that. No, that's terrible. Why has it done that? Not winning with that. I'm so out of the zone. Sorry, guys. Let's delete those parts and start again. So we start with sketch 2, which is this one. If we delete this, some of these bits, we start with sketch 2. Now the twist transform doesn't work anymore. We delete that. And that one. And if we extrude that sketch properly now, we start. I haven't looked at this for quite some time. But if we select sketch 2 and extrude it, we only want it out like 2 mil or something. Right? As new parts, that changes them all different colours, so you can determine that they are actually new. And the reason I've done that is so that we can select all these parts here like this. Remember, if we select from right to left, it selects everything that's in the selection. So if I select this here like this, it gets all those things. And if I select from left to right, it only selects the things that are absolutely inside the selection. See? We click transform. It's asking for a line or point to translate from, which we're going to start with that vertex. Translate, probably want to scale it. From there, and click the scale uniformly. And our Z scale, we go 1.3 maybe. And that is scaling it upwards, including this distance here is also 1.3. So if we want to select those parts, if we select from this side, see that only selects the bits that are, there we go, and transform again. We translate X, Y, Z. We go -40, that brings it somewhere near. It's just a matter of playing around till we get it somewhere near. But that's probably a pretty good start. Something a bit fancy in here for steam. Is really what it needs. I'm not sure it is readable, but we'll see with that. I think that that's probably a fairly easy thing to cast, though. Now, what we need to do is put steam in here. So New sketch. We'll bung it straight on here. And we'll put text. Something like that. We go STEAM. And in the same font, that's a bit boring, really. Not feeling it. Just transform that to the center. Move that so that it's sort of on line in the center. That's not terrible. So what I'd like is a little bit more sort of class than that. It feels a bit sort of feels a bit boring. If we extrude those letters, it's not in the center. But let's try and put a bit of a curve in these, because this is a bit boring. Hey, TMB. I think it needs to be curved. I absolutely do. So how do we do that? We put another sketch on here. We call our sketch plane the front plane. So it's actually on the sketch plane rather than on the actual part. And we find a curve here. Probably a 3-point arc. We need to get a start, I think, with some construction lines. We'll put an arc across here like this. And when that line turns yellow dots, we know that it's parallel. And then from here, we'll put a 3-point arc, touching both those. And finding sort of something that works. So I don't know if that's what we're going to start with. But we could start and we could try that. Now, these don't seem to be quite in the middle. So we're going to use our transform tool again and select that one, and that one, and that one, and that one, and that one. Try and line that up on the center line there. That's probably more in the middle. So there's a tool here called, where do we find it? What we're looking for could be here. No. It's not rib. What we're looking for is probably curve pattern. I'm just guessing this. We select entities to pattern. What happens here? Pass the pattern along. Are we back? I'm going to have to get this a whole lot more better. That's not going to work, guys. John's off to bed. He's had enough. This is not really. It does look a bit keep off the grass like Peter's right. We will be setting up a casting area in the shed, yes, and we're already sort of working on that as such. I'm not really winning with this here. I've got to sit down and play with it and get up to speed again with this because I haven't messed with this program for a couple of weeks. I think that might look nice with the steam straight on the top and curved around the bottom around that. I think I might know how to do it, actually. Thanks, Peter. Anyway, I think I've worked out how to do that. Let's have a look here. Just had a thought about this. I think I might have this. We might have this. It's not helping anything that I'm exhausted from work still. It's been a pretty crazy day as normal. If we scale this one too, point of mate collector is going to be this sort of the center of that, I think. The midpoint. Of course, selecting a mate point like that doesn't really do any. It doesn't do us any good. There we go. Bear with me because I think I've got this. A little bit of artistic license here. But if we do it like this, I think this might work. TMB's already done one in AI, which is kind of cool. Getting it into a STL from AI is a little bit more complicated. I've discovered, because my first thought to do this was AI, absolutely. So we use it basically as subtraction. Our tools is this. So we're going to take basically part 24 away from that one, that one, that one, that one, and that one. And there we go. So it's done that, and it looks quite good, I think. I don't think that's terrible at all. This one here could be a fraction bigger because S's tend to like to be a fraction bigger. That was transform 7. Let's see if that makes a difference. What it's going to do there is put a flat point on that, which isn't really good. So if we do this, and targets, which is part 19, if we remove part 19 from the targets, that looks much better. So that's that. Now, what do we do with this? Do we make this? What do we do? Know about pinstriping. I'm just going to add some relief on it and paint the back red, and leave the letters in aluminium just to give it some. So that's that. Now this bottom one, do we put a matching curve on this, or do we make it a bit smaller, or do we make it an oval shape or fit it inside an oval? Probably we put a matching curve on it. Let's try that. So this is sketch 8, which has disappeared. Now if we put a new sketch, on the front plane again, the same. Call that, let's say that's sketch 9. Probably we should label it properly, but we haven't done. Now we use this use, which is this little box here, and we can select this plane, this curve, and this curve as onto our new sketch. If we use this button, which is offset. We could offset this sketch in our new sketch. This arrow, so it goes the other way. And this is offset at 5 mil. Let's offset it, say, 8 millimeters. Like so. Um, 8.1, I think, will save us moving that S. That's not quite enough. 8.2. We're going to go 8.3. $8.5, righto. And if we draw another line across here, Control Z fixes that. And we click this, we get rid of that and that. And probably the original line. And this line. And we turn off sketch 8 so it's not messing around with us. What we're going to do is make the same shape here. Like this. In inverse. So that's what we've got. Now what we're going to do is scale this one. Which isn't going to be particularly easy, really, because we've got this D with a flat top. You won't see that. Let's start with the D. We use the transform again. And instead of transform by line, we go to scale. And click the scale uniformly. And we've got we've got this part here, which is part 7. We'll start with that. Now, until we get a point or mate connector, oops. Let's start with that. And then we go to this one. Now we need to scale it. Where do we start with here? I think we're only going to scale it one way, so it doesn't really matter. Let's try that. And then this one. Same thing. Let's go to scale. It's not an art program. There are art programs you could use for this, but it's not particularly, they're not generally particularly intuitive either. So a point or make connector, we'll go with that. Needed is to transform a copy. We've got to select that one. That's up there, so we've got that there. Now, if we do the same thing really, we need to extrude this. Like so. And then we need to subtract this from the targets, which is this one, and this one, and this one. And it sort of works. It's not ideal, but because these are no longer text, we can modify them a little bit. So here, what we can do is put a fillet on here. It's probably as good as time and place as any. We can't do it that way. So we need to put a bit of a curve in here. So a new sketch. Our sketch plane is going to be, we'll just do it this way. We're going to the front sketch plane. We can select it there as well as we can click on it. And we use. Which we can't do for some reason. Anyway, that's all right. If we go up here like this, and we're just guessing here because it'll be close enough and there shouldn't be too many issues with it. We make a shape like that. And we extrude it. That didn't work. Why didn't that work? There's sketch 10. Why is sketch 10 not joining up? Yeah, it doesn't join up there. Let's have a look. I guess there's someone still watching. One of these don't join up properly. It's not good. And we're going to start this again. What we need to do is put a square corner on here so we can put a fillet on it. go on the actual face of that extrusion, that might make it a little bit easier. It does too. Look at that. There we go. Now we can extrude that. What we find is that it's probably going to extrude out the front rather than the back. You want it 2 mil. We can change the direction with that little arrow. Add it to that. And let's fix that. Now, that makes perfect sense, doesn't it? However, this one here, if we drag this down here past this, there you go, that makes our cutoff later in our sequence of events than our actual masked extrusion. So that fixes that. And then all we need to do, I believe, is put a filter on here. Let's have a look at this at the front, see how much it needs. So that's that. Hey James, Mark's there. Pask had the right idea in his latest build. That's interesting. Yes, I can make all the letters the same colour, but the reason they are different colours is that each letter is a separate piece, and that's to determine which part's which. If we, because we've got this sorted to the point that we kind of like it, we could experiment with that. So basically, we can change them just by changing the colours. Appearance panel. So we can use the appearance panel here. And we can change them all to grey if we like. Which was the grey we used for part 4. Third one down. We can keep them all separate parts and just change the colours if we want. Using the appearance panel. That's a slow way of doing it. But because we don't really want to join it all up yet, because we might want to do something else at a later date, it's probably the best way. Probably we could I reckon what we could do no, we need to select them one by one, it says. There we go. So what we've done is manually changed them all to the same colour. Close that again. Might be better. It's a pretty good start on a plate. The round corners are a bit, I'm not sure I like them. What do we do? Do we just put a hole here and a hole here? Or do we make what I think probably needs to happen? I'll have a look at that in a minute, Pete. Hey, James. So what needs to happen is it needs a couple of holes in it to screw it down. Now, what we've got is sketch one. If we edit sketch one, which is this first sketch we put in. And put some dimensions on that. So distance from there to there, I reckon. So it's 80. Let's see how 85 looks. There we are, that looks good. Might be a bit much. That's better. Now if we draw from, put a construction line from the centre of this hole up to this line. Press Q to and then we mirror that. Our mirror line is going to be that one. There we go. Use the trim tool, remove that and that and that. And then radius is this one. And this one. I reckon 6. Seven maybe. There we go, 7. Let's try with 7. Now, let's do some mirror work here. We'll get a mirror there. That one, that one, that one, and that one. And there's 2 little lines in between that won't add up if we don't do that. And we trim the space in between this one here. There we go. And click OK. That should nearly do that on its own. But wait for it, and wait for it, and wait for it, and wait for it. It annoys you that the centre of each word is not aligned. Thanks for that feedback. I might have a look at that in a second when we've done this. The centre of each word is not aligned. It's very true. It's because one has 6 letters and one has 4 letters and one has 11 letters. Interesting. I wonder what we can do about that. I don't think it's going to work because of our kerning. I just don't think that there's anything we can fix that. I don't feel like it's something we can fix. If we squash down the T and the E and stretch out the A and the M, it's going to look ugly. I think. No, I'm going to have to sleep on that because you're right. T and B actually absolutely has a point. And now I've seen it, I can't unsee it. If we use this little measuring tape tool and measure from there to there, our X there is 44.17 millimeters. Now if we measure from here to there, to there, that's 43.5. So probably we just need to move this across a bit. Is that right? So if we measure here to there, say 52.6, 52.65, and from there to there is 59.9, 59.91. So 50, when we say 55.65, 52, 59. So this really needs to move quite a bit. Let's have a look. That's doable, I think. Let's see if I can fix that. Let's work out what sketch it is. This is why you should always label things. Sketch 4. A lot of this isn't really particularly. Extrude 7. How do we do that? Move that across. Extrusion is extrude. Which one is it? It's that one. So what we need to do is move that across a couple of millimeters. It's going to mess everything up. So we need to put transform in here. We're going to move these, which is going to muck them up. And we need to move X, what? -3. Now, sort of doesn't work because we've messed up our curve. This is trend. But if we move this up here, I think we can probably get away with it. If we move this, does that fix that? I think it might have. Is that better, TNB? Have we fixed that? No, we haven't. Maybe we have. Now, what's everyone said? No, it hasn't fixed it. Center of O and E needs to be aligned. O and E. I don't think we can do that. I don't think that's fixable. But it's what we have done. Probably brought them sort of into line. I think that M needs to move a little bit. You can't see my keys on there. I think this M needs to move. Maybe a little bit. And this sort of works. I'm not sure we can fix it actually. Our S's are in line. Our E and our, if we look at it that way, our E and the M and the D, this M sticks out too far here. But I think that's the way it is. Moving this fraction this way will probably fix it. I think that's what that needs. Let's transform this one, this one. Is that better? Who said it that? Because we didn't put any real measurements in that either. Maybe. Are we winning? Is there a win? Yes, the S's are not affected by the curve, because if you make the S's affected by the curve, you get one of two things. You get one of two things. One, you get a cut-off, and two, you get a smaller letter, because the S really needs to stick over the top of the curve a couple of fractions just so that it looks right. So I didn't include them in the actual, the adjustment from the curve. So I'm sort of thinking out loud here. Not thinking out loud far enough, but if we put a sketch on here, right, this is what I'm sort of thinking. On the front plane, and we put a box here for a letter. And nope. What we were looking for is wingdings. that didn't happen, so that's not a thing. Let's cancel that, put a sketch on here. That's how we do it. And like this, if we go to circular pattern, like so. So I think what we need to do is a circular pattern on this one. Off the center of that, we can drag that down and click that on there. Probably a much easier way to do this, but I'm not, it's late. Now, this very cool message just popped up. From Max. There we go. I'm gonna read that out loud. Just booked for flying out 7th of January, back the 4th of February. So he's here for a month. Vague plans of helping a friend build a carport. So Matt Peterson is coming back to Australia, which is a bit awesome. Caught up with him last time he was here. Be pretty excited to catch up with him again, if that's something that happens. I don't know about this star thing. If we go to appearance, we can change the appearance of that last piece, because that's going to mess with everyone and make that the same as the rest. And we can do the whole mirror thing. It is mirrors that one. The mirror plane is the easiest way to do this is to go up here to this, and then we get this on the right plane. And that puts another one in there. So do we like that? I don't know. If we transform, and we can do that quite simply. To translate X, Y, Z gives us a little arrow. If we drag that to the top above that mirror line, that changes the other one as well. Now, don't know, do we like it? I think that probably serves very well, and it's probably simple enough and quite good. Don't know. If we make basically a union, by selecting everything, and joining them all together, that makes everything one. Come on, my stupid mouse is going to play up now. So the letters are actually extruded further than the actual outer surround, which when you're looking at the bottom, you can see that. It's a fairly simple fix. It's actually 5mm thick, so we draw a certain box there and extrude it. And we select, instead of line, we put through all. And we have symmetrical. And we go remove. Part 3, click OK. Yeah, that's brought everything down to where it needs to be. It's a fairly low relief, but it will cast really nicely in aluminium. Probably it needs, ideally, a fillet around all those letters. You could add a texture to it, absolutely. That might be really nice. It will have a sand texture anyway, and that might do. If we were to do it on the CNC router, which might be an easy way to do it in aluminium if we really wanted to, then we could put a texture on it then, but it's a bit of overkill. I'm probably nearly been up 2 hours later than I should have been, but that might be what we work for, and it's got that sort of carnival-y sort of a feel to it, and it doesn't have to be particularly formal on the donation box. But if we got one of them cast in aluminium, I don't think that'd be a terrible thing, and we could just screw it straight to the box. So to cast it, of course, in aluminium, it probably wants, there are things that it needs. It needs some draft on it, probably. It's only 5mm thick. But like Peter says, it probably needs a little bit of draft on it. I don't think the letters, being only sticking up about 1mm, really need any. I think that'll come out beautifully. But the outside on it probably needs a bit of draft to come out. We probably fix that fairly quickly. If my mouse plays up. Let's extrude one. So let's edit that. And we can select draft here. And we don't want it that way, we probably want it this way. Is that right? Is that the right way around? Yeah, let's put a bit of draft on that. Simple as that. What it also has done is mixed up our second extrusion for some reason. It's got a bit of draft on it. It's mixed up quite a lot. Let's edit that and put a little bit more than 3 degrees. Put 5 on it. 6. 7. I think I'm going to go with 7. Wait for it. But what that, because we've changed it, something's messed up. Yep. It's this one. Why has it done that? That's part 9, part 14. And we've got this part here that's not part of it. There we go, let's fix that. There we go, and let's fix that itself. So basically we put a draft on that. And let's look at the front of it. There's going to be a lot of this happen now because my mouse is starting to play up. My trackball touchpad's starting to play up. Anyway, that's got a bit of draft on the outside, which is really what it needs. I think that'll mould quite nicely. I'm going to call this, I think. Because that's only sticking out about 1 millimetre, past the relief is only about 1 millimetre. I don't think that'll have any problems at all moulding. I really don't think that that'll be an issue. I think even in brass it might not be too much of an issue. I think it would mould quite nicely. It's quite thin for its size, but I don't think that'll be a problem. Anyway, next couple of weekends I might get one of them made and put on the box. But we need to print it first. And to be honest, my printer's still in Brisbane, so we'll see how that happens. Anyway, thanks guys for sitting down and spending some time with me. I've wasted a fair bit of your evening, and I'm sorry about that. But I appreciate that you joining in and giving me the impetus to actually get in and actually do something that I've been procrastinating. So that's awesome. Actually probably going to be a dark red. I don't know. Really don't know. But that's my thought. The rest of the box is red, so we'll see what happens with that. Might be nice in black too. Sort of an Indian red. Don't know, black might look all right too. I sort of feel like you can get away with anything. Green might be cool. That might be really good too. That's high visibility. Might look good on the timber. Anyway, we'll see what happens with that. That's sort of probably. I think this is a job I've attempted twice and given up on. So I think I've got something, and I'll mess around and we'll make one. Might even do a video on casting it because it's a pretty simple little casting. And get that going. There's another casting that we've done that we'll have a look at tomorrow night. But people like the green, maybe. I like the green too. We'll see what happens with that. Anyway, I'm out, guys. Appreciate it again. And